I have watched people reverse decades of dysfunction in a matter of months. Not because they found some secret, not because they got lucky, but because they understood one simple truth. How you move at 30 determines how you live at 80. And if you are willing to do the work now, if you are willing to invest in your future body today, you can age in a way that most people think is impossible. This episode is about that. It's about building a body that doesn't just survive into old age, but thrives. It's about claiming the kind of longevity that lets you play with your grandkids on the floor, travel the world at 75, and live independently until your last breath. That's not a fantasy, that's biology, and it starts with the choices that you make today. I watched my grandmother squat down to pull weeds from her garden. She was 85 years old. She stayed there for an hour. Deep squat, flat feet, no pain, no struggle. Just sitting there, working, talking to me, completely comfortable in a position that most 30-year-olds can't hold for 30 seconds. And when she was done, she just stood up. No hands, no groaning, no moaning, no hesitation. She just stood up and walked inside to make coffee. Meanwhile, today, I see 40-year-olds who groan in pain when trying to squat deeper than parallel and can't get off the floor without using their hands. I see 50-year-olds who can't walk without knee pain, 60-year-olds who've already accepted that their body is done and dusted, that movement is over, that capability is behind them, that the rest of their life is just surviving and managing decline. And I want to tell you something that might make you uncomfortable. That's not aging. That is the highest level of self-neglect. Your body at 60, at 70, at 80 isn't determined by genetics or luck. It is determined by what you are doing right now, today, this week, this year. Every rep that you skip, every movement you avoid, every time that you choose comfort over capability, you are writing the story of your future body. And most people, they're writing a tragedy. But it really doesn't have to be that way. I've trained 70-year-olds who move better than 30-year-olds. I've seen 80-year-olds do their first handstand. Let me paint you a picture of what aging looks like for most people. At 50, they start feeling stiff, achy, tired. They tell themselves that it's just normal. I'm just getting older. This is just what happens. At 60, they can't do the things they used to do. They can't run, they can't jump, they can't play with their grandkids. So they blame their age, they blame genetics, they just accept it as normal. At 70, they are dependent. They need help getting in and out of the car, they need railings to go up the stairs, they need assistance just to live. And by 80, most people are just waiting for the body to fail completely, waiting for the end. That is the standard trajectory. And we have normalized it. We have accepted it. We've accepted it as inevitable. But let me tell you something. It's not inevitable. It is a choice made not once, but thousands of times over decades. Every time you sit still instead of move. Every time you avoid discomfort instead of challenging yourself. Every time you complain, every time you prioritize convenience over capability, you are choosing that future. You are building that body. Now let me show you the alternative. There are cultures where 80-year-olds still work in the fields, where 90-year-olds still walk miles every day, where people die at 95 not because their bodies gave out, but because their time is simply over. What's the difference? It's not genetics, it's not healthcare, it's not supplements, it is movement, it is lifestyle. These people never stop moving, they never stop challenging their bodies and their mind. They squat, they carry, they walk, they climb, they socialize every single day for their entire lives. And their bodies, they stay capable, they stay resilient, they stay alive. Compare that to the West where we sit for 12 hours a day. We drive everywhere, we take elevators, we avoid any physical challenges. And then we are shocked when our bodies fall apart at 60. We blame the age, we blame bad luck, we blame everything except the real culprit, neglect. And here's something else that I'm going to tell you. Your body at 70 is not determined by what you do at 70. It is determined by what you do at 30, at 40, at 50. The choices you make today are building the body that you're going to live in for decades. And most people, they're building a prison. A body that can't move, that can't play, that cannot function. A body that becomes a burden instead of a gift. But here is the good news. It's not too late. No matter how old you are right now, you can change the trajectory. You can rebuild, you can reclaim capability, you can invest in your future body. And the return on that investment, it is the rest of your life. Let me tell you about one of my students. She came to me at 68, hadn't exercised in 20 years, couldn't squat, couldn't get down to the floor, couldn't touch her toes, could barely walk without hip pain. She had accepted that this was just her life now, that her body was done. But something in her refused to give up. She wanted more. She wanted better. She had a deeper why. So we started slowly, progressively, intelligently. 6 months later, she was squatting comfortably. She was doing handstands. She was hanging off a bar. She was getting up and down from the floor with ease, walking without pain. A year later, she's doing things with her body she couldn't do at 40. Not because she reversed aging, but because she reversed neglect. She invested in her body and her body responded. That's what I want you to understand. Your body wants to move. It wants to be capable. It wants to serve you for decades. But you have to give it the stimulus. You have to challenge it. You have to use it. Because the body follows one simple rule. Use it or lose it. And most people, they're losing it, and they're losing it fast. Okay, so really quick, I want to share a resource with you that I have available if you are currently feeling injured, stiff, broken. If you're a professional athlete looking to improve your mobility, my mobility toolkit is currently helping over 50,000 people in 40 plus countries, people ranging from all walks of life, complete beginners, professional athletes, men and women in their 70s and 80s. If you have 15 minutes to spare, this will work for you and it's going to produce dramatic results within weeks. Check it out. So let me break down what actually happens when you age. Because most people think that aging is this mysterious process they can't control, but it's not. It is biology, and you have more control over it than you think. Starting around age 30, you lose 3 to 5% of your muscle mass every decade. By 60, most people have lost 30% of their muscle. By 80, they've lost 50% or more. And here is what most people don't know. That loss isn't inevitable, it is preventable. Muscle loss happens because of disuse, not age. If you keep using your muscles, if you keep challenging them, stimulating them, they don't disappear. I've seen 70-year-olds with more muscle mass than sedentary 30-year-olds. So that's definitely not due to genetics, it's because they never stopped training. Muscle isn't just about aesthetics. Muscle is metabolic health. It is insulin sensitivity. It is longevity. The more muscle you have, the longer you live. The better you age, the more capable you stay. So when you skip strength training, when you avoid challenging your body, you are not just losing muscle, you are losing years of your life. Next is bone density. Your bones follow the same pattern. Use them or lose them. Every time you load your skeleton, every time that you jump, lift, carry, your bones respond by getting denser. But when you stop loading them, they get weaker, more fragile, more likely to break. And here's the scary part. Most people don't know that they have weak bones until they break something. A fall at 60 that would have been nothing at 30 becomes a hip fracture, a broken wrist, a life-changing injury. But it doesn't have to be that way. Bone density responds to load, to impact, to resistance. So if you jump, sprint, lift, and carry, if you do these things consistently, your bones stay strong, dense, resilient. But if you stop doing them, they're going to crumble. It's really that simple. Then we have joint mobility. This is another thing that happens. Your joints stiffen, your range of motion decreases, your movement vocabulary shrinks. Most 60-year-olds can't reach overhead without pain. They can't squat below parallel. They cannot rotate their spine. Not because their joints are too old, but because they stopped moving them through their full ranges of motion, and this was decades ago. Joints need motion to stay healthy. They need synovial fluid circulating all the time. They need cartilage being loaded. They need full ranges being accessed. When you stop moving through full ranges, when you avoid certain positions, your body adapts. It basically says, we don't use this range anymore, so we don't really need it. And then it takes it away. That's why most adults can't squat deep, they can't hang comfortably, they can't sit on the floor. They stopped doing these things long ago and their bodies adapted to the restriction. But here's the beautiful part. You can get it back at any age. I've had 75-year-old students regain ranges they lost 30 years ago, not through magic, through consistent, intelligent movement, through daily practice, through using what they thought that they had lost. Let's touch on nervous system decline. Your nervous system also degrades with age. Balance gets worse, coordination suffers, reaction time slows down. But again, this isn't inevitable, it is trainable. When you challenge your balance, when you practice coordination, when you train reaction time, your nervous system adapts. It basically builds new pathways. It maintains old ones. It stays sharp. I've seen 80-year-olds with better balance than 40-year-olds. Why? Because they practice it daily, consistently, standing on one leg, walking on uneven surfaces, walking barefoot, challenging their stability, and their nervous systems still firing, still adapting, still learning. That's the power of stimulus, of challenge, of use. Then we have the metabolic slowdown. And this, everyone talks about how metabolism slows down with age, how you gain weight easier, how nothing works the way that it used to, how you have less energy, basically how everything gets harder. But the real story, your metabolism doesn't slow because you age. It slows because you move less. Less muscle mass means lower metabolic rate. Less activity means fewer calories burned. Less movement means less energy demand. It's a vicious cycle, but it's not about age. It's about behavior and lifestyle. Change the behavior and you change the metabolism. Build muscle, move more, challenge your body. And suddenly, your metabolism doesn't look like an 80-year-old's. It looks like a 40-year-old's. Because biology doesn't care about your age. It cares about the stimulus that you give it. Let me tell you about the longevity non-negotiables. What do we actually need to do to age well? To build a body that lasts? Here are my top tips. The things that aren't optional if you want longevity. Non-negotiable 1 is daily movement. Not exercise, but movement. Every single day you need to move your body through space. That can mean walking, crawling, hanging, squatting, just moving your body. Most people think they can exercise 3 times a week and sit the rest of the time. That doesn't work. Sitting 23 hours a day and training for 1 hour doesn't equal health. You need movement throughout the day constantly, every day. This is how you maintain joint health, tissue quality, and metabolic function. This is how you tell your body, we still need this, we are still using this, and your body is going to respond. It will adapt. It's going to maintain. Non-negotiable number 2 is strength training. You need to load your muscles and your bones regularly, consistently, not with light weights and high reps, but with real load, real challenge. Because your body needs a reason to maintain muscle and bone density. And that reason is demand, stimulus, stress. So twice a week minimum, full body, progressive overload. You do your squats, you're pushing, you're pulling, you're carrying, lifting things off the ground. These movements build the foundation of longevity. They maintain muscle, they strengthen bones. They build resilience. And the people who skip this, well, they are the ones who break hips at 60. They are the ones who can't carry groceries at 60, who lose independence at 70. So don't be those people. Non-negotiable number 3, mobility practice. You need to move through your full ranges of motion daily. If you can't squat deep, you are losing hip and ankle mobility. If you cannot reach overhead, you are losing shoulder function. If you can't sit on the floor comfortably, you are losing the ability to get up and down independently. These aren't just movement skills, these are life skills, these are survival skills. The ability to squat is the ability to use a toilet independently at 80. The ability to get off the floor is the ability to play with your grandkids at 70. The ability to reach overhead is the ability to put things away at 90. Lose these movements and you lose independence. It's as simple as that. You lose quality of life. So practice them daily without fail. Non-negotiable 4 is balance and coordination. Your nervous system needs challenge constantly. Stand on one leg, walk on uneven surfaces, practice balance. Essentially, this is fall prevention. This is fracture prevention. This is life preservation. Most people die not from disease, but from falls. They fall, they break a hip, they become immobile, they deteriorate. But if your balance is sharp, if your coordination is maintained, you don't fall. And even if you do, you You catch yourself, you recover, you stay safe. That is the power of a trained nervous system. Non-negotiable number 5, nutrition for longevity. You cannot outtrain a bad diet, especially as you age. Protein becomes more important, not less. You need it to maintain muscle mass. Micronutrients become critical. Your body needs real food, not processed garbage. Hydration matters more. Your tissues need water to function. This isn't about being perfect. This is about being consistent. Eat real food, prioritize protein, stay hydrated. That's 90% of the battle. Non-negotiable number 6, recovery and adaptation. Sleep, stress management, rest. These aren't optional. These are when your body rebuilds. When you train hard, but you don't recover, you break down. You don't adapt. You age faster. Recovery is when longevity happens. So you sleep 7 to 9 hours a day, you manage your stress, you take rest days. Your body needs time to rebuild what you're challenging it with. Give it that time. Non-negotiable 7 is mindset. This might be the most important one. You have to believe that you can change. You have to believe that you can age well, that your body is capable, that decline is not inevitable. Because if you believe you're done at 60, you will definitely be done. If you believe your body is too old, it will act old. But if you believe you can get stronger, more mobile, more capable with age, your body will prove you right. I've seen it hundreds of times. The students who believe they can improve, they do improve. The ones who believe they're too old, well, they stay stuck. Your mindset determines your trajectory. Choose wisely. Let me tell you about the people who inspire me, the ones who show what's actually possible. My grandmother at 85, still squatting in the garden, still walking miles, still cooking, cleaning, and living independently. She never exercised a day in her life, but she never stopped moving. She walks everywhere. She works in the garden. She carries things. She squats. She bends. She reaches. Her body is used daily, fully, completely. At 85, she's more capable than most 50-year-olds I know. The Okinawan centenarians, people living past 100, healthy, mobile, independent. What's their secret? They move every day for their entire lives. They garden, they walk, they squat to eat, they stay active in their communities. They never retire from movement. They never stop using their bodies. And their bodies, they last. The 70-year-old student who did her first handstand, she came to me thinking she was too old, too weak, too broken, too fragile. But she was willing to try, willing to work, willing to believe. And after a year of consistent practice, she kicked up into her first handstand at 70 years old. Not because she's special, because she didn't give up on herself. These are the people who we should be studying. Not the people who accept decline, but the ones who defy it. Not the ones who give up at 60, but the ones who thrive at 80. They're not genetic outliers. They're not lucky. They are just proof of what is possible when you refuse to quit on your body. And here's what they all have in common. They move daily, consistently for their entire life. They challenge themselves. They do not avoid discomfort. They maintain strength, mobility, balance, coordination. They eat real food, they sleep, they manage stress, and they believe. They believe that their bodies are capable. They believe they can age well. That is a blueprint. It's not complicated at all. It is not expensive. It is not exclusive. It's just consistent, intelligent, intentional, and it works every single time. So let me bring this home. You're not too old. You are not too far gone. You are not too broken, but you are running out of time. Every day you wait is a day you lose. Every week you delay is capability that you won't get back as easily. The best time to start was 20 years ago. The second best time is today. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when you feel ready. Today. Right now, this moment, because your 80-year-old self is watching, waiting, hoping you make the right choice, hoping that you invest in them, hoping you build a body they will need to live in. Don't let them down. Don't be the person who gets to 70 and wishes they had started at 40. Don't be the person who loses independence because they were too lazy to move at 50. Don't be the person who can't play with their grandkids because they neglected their body for decades. Be the person who thrives, who stays capable, who lives fully until their last day. So here's what I want you to do this week. Move every single day for at least 10 minutes. Do your squats, do your hangs, do your walks, your crawls. Just move. Lift something heavy twice this week. Challenge your muscles. Practice getting down to the floor and back up without using your hands if you can. This is your longevity test. Can you do it? If not, work on it. Stand on one leg, eyes closed for 30 seconds at a time. This is your balance test. How is your nervous system reacting? These aren't just exercises, these are life skills. Skills that you're going to need at 60, 70, and 80. So practice them now, build them now, maintain them now, because your future body is counting on you. And if you want more guidance, if you want a system that actually works for longevity, check out my mobility toolkit. It is currently helping over 130,000 people from all walks of life. People who want to stay capable, people who want to move freely for decades. Thousands of people are using it from their 20s to their 80s, and it works. But whether you use my toolkit or not, just start. Start moving, start challenging yourself, start investing into your future. Because here's what I'm going to tell you. How you move at 30 determines how you live at 80. And the choices you make today, they are writing that story. So make your story a good one. I started this episode talking about my grandmother, 85 years old, squatting in the garden. Independent, capable, alive. She's not special. She's not lucky. She is just proof of what happens when you never stop moving, when you never give up on your body and your dreams, when you treat movement not as optional, but as essential. And that can be you, not just surviving into old age, but thriving, moving well, living independently, playing with grandkids, traveling the world. All of this is possible. All of this is waiting for you. You just have to choose it today, and then again and again and again, day after day, every day. I'll say it again, your future body is counting on you. Don't let them down. See you in the next episode.